Welcome to the True Assassins podcast, where we delve into the dark and fascinating world of true assassins. You know those figures shrouded in mystery who operate in the shadows?
Yep.
Today we're going to be exploring two incredible tales, inspired by Orlando Madsbrine's book, True Kill. And these stories, they really grapple with those blurry lines between loyalty and survival, that point where duty clashes with our deepest instincts. So get ready for some serious cloak and dagger action.
I'm ready.
All right, so first up we have the Fool's Rebellion. Picture this, okay? You're in a royal court, there's laughter music, and at the center of it all is Motley.
Okay.
The Jester, he's, cracking jokes, juggling, keeping everyone entertained.
The life of the party.
Yeah, exactly, he's the life of the party. But here's the twist. Motley has a secret.
No.
Underneath that Jester's mask, he's a royal assassin.
Wow, a double life.
Yeah, a total double life. He's like the king's most trusted killer.
So he's not just entertaining, he's also eliminating.
Exactly, and he does it all with a smile on his face.
That's crazy. How does he even manage that?
Well, think about it. His role as a jester gives him this incredible cover.
I guess so. Nobody suspects the funny guy, right?
Right. He's always around. He hears everything, sees everything.
Yeah, has access to everyone.
Exactly. And because he's the jester, no one really takes him seriously.
So it's like the perfect disguise.
It's the perfect disguise, so he's able to carry out his missions, without arousing any suspicion.
Interesting.
But this time, Motley's given a target that changes everything.
What do you mean?
The king orders him to kill the heir to the throne.
The press.
An innocent child.
Whoa, hold on. That's a whole different ballgame.
It is. It's a huge departure from his usual targets, who are typically
Corrupt officials or rivals of the king.
Yeah, exactly. But this time, it's a child, a young boy.
So what does Motley do?
Well, he's torn. On one hand, he's sworn an oath to the king. But on the other hand, he's being asked to commit an unthinkable act.
Right, to kill a child that's got to weigh heavily on him.
It does. It really does. He's grappling with his conscience.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out what to do.
I can't even imagine being in that position.
Yeah, it's a true moral dilemma. And what he decides to do is incredibly bold.
So what does he do?
He comes up with this plan to fake the assassination.
Fake it.
Yeah. He takes his dagger, smears it with pig's blood.
Oh, wow.
And then he sneaks into the prince's chambers and cuts a lock of the boy's hair.
To make it look like...
Exactly, to make it look like he carried out the king's orders.
That's so risky, though. What if he gets caught?
The stakes are incredibly high, but he's desperate, and he's willing to risk everything to save this child.
I'm on the edge of my seat here.
I know, it's a really intense moment. So he goes back to the king, presents him with the bloody dagger and the lock of hair.
And what does the king do?
Well, the king, he's this paranoid ruler, right? He's always afraid of someone trying to usurp his power.
Right.
So when he sees the dagger and the hair, he completely believes that Motley has killed the prince.
But it just fuels his paranoia even more.
Exactly. It backfires in a way that Motley couldn't have even predicted. The king starts accusing everyone in the court of plotting against him, of being traitors.
So Motley's deception throws the whole kingdom into chaos.
It does. It creates this huge distraction. And in the midst of all this chaos, Motley is able to smuggle the prince out of the palace to safety.
Oh my gosh, so the prince is actually safe.
He's alive and well, thanks to Motley's quick thinking.
And what about Motley?
Well, Motley, he knows he can't stay at the court any longer, so he disappears into the night.
He just vanishes.
He vanishes. He leaves behind his jester's garb and his role as the king's assassin.
He's leaving that whole life behind.
He's leaving it all behind, and he becomes this wandering minstrel.
I'm a minstrel.
Yeah, he travels from town to town, singing songs about the corrupt king.
Wow. So he's using his voice to expose the truth?
Exactly. He's no longer a weapon of death, but a voice for justice.
That's a powerful transformation.
It really is. It shows that even in the darkest of places,
Yes.
there's always hope for redemption.
Right. And that even one person can make a difference.
Absolutely. So that's the Fool's Rebellion, a tale of deception, loyalty, and ultimately a choice to protect innocence.
It's a reminder that sometimes we have to defy orders to do what's right.
That's a great point. Sometimes doing the right thing means going against the grain.
Exactly.
All right, so for our second story, we're shifting gears a bit and diving into a world of ancient magic and ambition.
Sounds intriguing.
It is. The story is called Blood Magic.
Blood magic.
And it takes us back to ancient Egypt, to the court of the pharaoh.
Oh, okay.
We meet Ramesses, a seemingly loyal guard.
Okay.
But deep down, he craves power.
Ah, so there's more to him than meets the eye.
Oh, yeah, much more. He's consumed by this ambition to become the new pharaoh.
And how does he plan to do that?
Well, that's where the blood magic comes in.
Okay, this is where it gets interesting.
He discovers these ancient scrolls that detail these forbidden rituals that promise unimaginable power.
So he's going down a dark path.
A very dark path. He starts performing these rituals in secret, in a hidden chamber beneath the palace.
And what kind of rituals are we talking about?
They involve sacrifices.
Blood offerings?
Blood offerings.
Yeah, it's pretty gruesome stuff.
I bet.
He's convinced that these rituals will give him the strength to overthrow the pharaoh.
So he's basically trying to tap into some dark forces.
Exactly. He's messing with forces that he doesn't fully understand.
That's never a good idea.
It's not, and it's all guided by this creepy old crone.
A crone.
Yeah, this like ancient sorceress who's teaching him the ways of blood magic.
She's like his mentor in the dark arts?
Exactly. She's leading him down this path of darkness and destruction.
Sounds really intense.
It gets even more intense because the final ritual, the one that will supposedly grant him ultimate power, requires a truly horrific sacrifice.
What does he have to sacrifice?
The pharaoh's young son.
The heir to the throne again.
Yeah, it's another innocent child caught in the crossfire of ambition.
This is so messed up.
It's really messed up. Rammus says he's so blinded by his desire for power that he's willing to do anything to achieve it.
Even kill a child. Even kill a child, he sees it as just another step towards his ultimate goal.
It's chilling.
So he poisons the pharaoh, weakening him, making him vulnerable. And then he takes the young boy down to that hidden chamber.
And performs the ritual.
It's a truly dark and disturbing scene.
I can only imagine.
But here's the thing. As soon as he completes the ritual, things start to go very wrong.
Ron how?
The runes on the floor, they start glowing, and these tendrils of shadows, they erupt from the ground.
Well, it sounds like he's unleashed something.
He's awakened something ancient and evil.
Something he can't control.
Something he can't control. It's like a curse that's been lying dormant for centuries.
And it's been unleashed.
It's been unleashed, and it's hungry for power.
And what happens to Ramesses?
Well, Ramesses quickly realizes that he's bitten off more than he can chew.
He thought he was in control.
Yeah, he thought he was the one in control, but he was wrong. The shadows, they turn on him, and even the crone, the one who taught him blood magic, she gets consumed by this darkness.
So it's every man for himself now.
It's total chaos, and Ramesses, he's trapped. He tries to fight back, tries to escape, but it's too late. The shadows, they overwhelm him, and they begin to transform him.
Transform him into what?
Into something monstrous, something grotesque.
Oh, no.
His flesh, it starts to twist his bones. They contort. He becomes this horrifying amalgamation of flesh and shadow.
He's no longer human.
He's no longer human. He's become a prisoner of the very power he sought to control.
So it's like a twisted form of poetic justice.
Exactly. His ambition, it backfired in the most horrific way imaginable.
Wow. That's a dark ending.
It's a reminder that sometimes the pursuit of power can lead to our own destruction.
Especially when dabbling in forces we don't understand.
Exactly. So what becomes of Ramesses, you might be wondering? Well, his monstrous form, it remains trapped in that hidden chamber.
Forever.
Forever a guardian of darkness. A permanent reminder of the cost of unchecked ambition.
And what about the pharaoh?
The pharaoh, he actually survives the poisoning, but he's forever changed by the experience. He becomes withdrawn, paranoid, always looking over his shoulder.
Haunted by what happened.
Exactly, and the public, they never learn the truth. They're told that the pharaoh was targeted by a sorcerer, but that the gods protected him.
So the truth remains buried.
It does. It's hidden away along with Ramesses' monstrous form.
Wow, that's a lot to unpack.
It is these two stories from True Kill. They really give us a glimpse into the dark side of human nature, the lengths people will go to for power, and the consequences of their choices.
That's a reminder that our actions have consequences.
They do, and that sometimes the price of power is far greater than we could ever imagine.
That's for sure.
So there you have it, two tales of assassins. From Orlando Madsbrine's True Kill, stories that explore the themes of loyalty, betrayal, and the dangers of unchecked ambition.
It's been a wild ride.
It has been a wild ride, and it makes you think, doesn't it, about the choices we make and the paths we choose to follow.
Yeah, it really makes you question what you would do in those situations.
Exactly. So we encourage you, our listeners, to check out True Kill by Orlando Madsbrine, to delve deeper into these stories and explore those shadowy corners of the human psyche.
It's a fascinating read.
It is, and until next time, stay tuned for more addictive cloak and dagger stories right here on the True Assassins podcast. Don't forget to rate and follow for more thrilling tales of intrigue and suspense.
See you next time.
See you next time.